Good morning. John Gilkison, Aerostealth here. It is Friday, September 1st, 2023, and I wanted to shoot this short video today uh, before I went back to bed. It's in the morning. On 23rd of August last week, I had carpal tunnel surgery, and that included an extra bonus where they took a bone out of the base of my thumb. So it was two different surgical sites. So it's been a miserable week for me. I'm a lot better now that I got a new splint instead of the ad hoc affair they plastered all over me when I was still on the operating table, I presume. Um, anyway, I'm down to only taking any kind of pain med at night before I go to bed, so pain doesn't interrupt my sleep, and I can get to sleep more comfortably. However, even that one pain pill is kind of kicking my butt. I'm just not mentally as sharp as I'd like to be. So you're gonna hope you'll forgive the brevity of the video here. I been seeing a lot of videos, and by a lot I mean a few more than usual. Videos about how it's an illusion, we can't make an energy transition to renewables without fossil fuels. We're always going to need fossil fuels and so forth. And some of these I think are fossil fuel FUD, and I think some of them may be well intentioned. I think they're being made by people who are frozen in the present. But I've been in energy issues for 30 or 40 years now myself. It's occupied more than a share of my attention, and I think all these things are based on these prognostications are based on false foundational premises. First place, humanity has lived on just renewables all the way up to the year about 1800. Now, if you went back to the year 1800 and took solar panels, wind turbines that produced electricity and had all the electrical devices that we have now, people would be significantly wealthier then than they were. Because these are our new energy slaves, so to speak. So that's the major point I'm trying to make here, is that we have lived sustainably. There was only 1 billion people in the year 1800, and we basically lived on wind and solar. Now, what they're saying about switching 100% to renewables is true, given the context of the current situation. There's some things that we can't do with renewables yet. We can't power really large ships, for example. We probably can do that with hydrogen. We definitely can't do large airplanes, large aircraft, and so forth. However, but the basic reason they're saying why we can't make this transition is because of growth. In other words, we go up, let's say, this high with renewable energy sources every year, and then the fossil fuels are up here total, but then the demand increases to up here. So what they're saying in that context is that growth is outstripping new supply of electricity from renewables and new energy sources from renewables. And this is true given the current context. So this is the elephant in the room, really, and no one wants to speak about it. This is their false foundational premise. And it's all based, too, on the so-called Jevons paradox, which is a falsehood, too. Because the Jevons paradox and what they're saying is all based on the idea that growth is a given. We have to have growth. We cannot get away from it. And this is a falsehood. Even they themselves point out that there was very little or no growth for, the first couple 100,000 years of our existence. It's only since the year 1800, when fossil fuels came into being, that this fantastic growth metric took off. Well, we've already grown ourselves to so much planetary overshoot that it behooves us to stop growing if we want to save ourselves. And this is the thing that these people aren't connecting the dots on. So this is what I would say. Another problem currently, and they keep reporting on it, is that the amount of subsidies that go to fossil fuel every year are fantastic and keep growing. And this is what needs to stop. We should take the fossil fuel subsidy money and plow it into renewables. That would be my first thing. If I was czar for a day or whatever. The other thing is, if we want to pull CO2 out of the atmosphere, we should dedicate nuclear power plants to do it 24/7. And this would be a good use. We should not decommission any existing nuclear power plants. Now, the whole idea of building new nuclear power is a separate issue, and it might be a viable idea, especially at small-scale nuclear, or it may not, and I'm not addressing that here. But existing power plants should not be decommissioned as long as they can stay commissioned. In other words, they're not in such bad shape they have to be decommissioned. But anyway, and this power can be used for base load and supply some spinning reserve, but that's the basic use I would put for it. I'd dedicate nuclear power plants to pulling CO2 out of the atmosphere and sequestering it. That'd be a really good use for it because it's carbon neutral now that the plant's in existence. So if you had this and one of the things that's driving growth is basically Wall Street. It's the money people. They like to have interest rates where they can keep growing their money supply. It's that kind of banking where you only have to have $1 to loan out 9, and then you get the interest back, and it's all based on future growth. Well, if there is no future growth, you can't do that kind of banking, and that's what they don't want. So they have to be put on notice. Growth has to stop, and our growth in the energy sector could stop also. Of course, there's some variables here. So anyway, so this is how the future would look. So then energy efficiency and renewables could catch up, but they're not going to catch up under the current growth paradigm and the constant subsidies that are being provided for fossil fuel extraction. So all these people are really doing is observing the facts as they are now and saying, well, this is a given. This is the way facts as they are now have to be in ad infinitum into the future. And we can't deviate from the way things are now. And this is the thing that I find the most upsetting about these kinds of discussions, saying we cannot get off of fossil fuels. Uh, our family here, personally, we've gotten off of fossil fuels 70-80%. Um, and that's why I say the Jevons paradox is false. The Jevons paradox assumes growth, and it's simply an observation. It's not a paradox. So, and Jevons never said it, that we couldn't have increased efficiency without growth. Excuse me, he never said we couldn't have a growth in energy consumption because of increased efficiency. What he said is that's what he was observing. And given that he was observing that inside of a growth paradigm, it was a true observation. But it's not a general principle. And that's the differentiation I make. So I'm going to let you go there. I'm sorry to meander on about this topic. These are just a collection of thoughts that I've had. And I just don't hear people saying it. So, and I know it's anathema to talk about no growth. One of the things I would do, again, thar for a day, would be to make all birth control, including abortion, free on demand to everybody. And I would have policies in place that encourage people not to have children. We do already, but I would provide even more incentives for people not to have children. And take care of the children we have, of course. And the right definitely has their asshats on backwards when it comes to this topic, and wanting to ban abortion, wanting to even ban contraception for some reason. So it's just insane what's going on in this country particularly. So y'all take care. In your personal life, keep trying to get off of fossil fuels. And that's all you can do under the current circumstances is reduce the demand for fossil fuels by you personally reducing your consumption of them. So, and I've advised this before. This is the situation we're in, and that's all an individual can do, is what they can do about their own personal situation, for the most part. So everybody take care. We'll see you on down the road. Happy electric trails, everybody. Bye-bye.